Thailand's king has endorsed Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha's cabinet, paving the way for a return to civilian rule after the election in March. And this comes a day after Mr Prayut ordered an end to military rule. He ended restrictions on the media and transferred cases from military to civilian courts, but kept sweeping powers for security forces. May Wong joins us with more on this right now. So May, it's been over, 3 months since the election took place, and he's put his cabinet together. So who are some of the big names, that we should be looking out for?
Absolutely no surprises here, because people were anxiously waiting, as you've mentioned, more than 3 months after the general elections. First of all, I want to point out that he's got 5 deputy prime ministers, and 2 of these deputy prime ministers are actually from 2 separate political parties, that of the Democrat Party as well as of Thai. And that is headed actually by the chief of the Democrats, which is by Mr Jurin, as well as Thai's chief, Mr Anutin. Now, these 2 men will hold 2 portfolios as Deputy Prime Minister, as well as the Commerce Minister and also the Public Health Minister. And for Mr Prayut himself, he will take on 2 portfolios as well. Aside from being the Prime Minister, he will also assume the Defence Minister portfolio. Now, these are very, very important positions, because they are practically the leader, and they will actually take the direction in terms of helping Thailand move out of this rut at this moment. Other portfolios to watch for: Palang Pracharat, the party that has actually brought Mr Prayut back into power. They are actually taking a large chunk of the ministerial position, filling up 11 of the ministerial seats. Of course, they are taking on positions such as the Energy Ministry, such as the Industry Ministry, which is interestingly held by the Thanathorn Juangroongruangkit, the Future Forward's uncle. And that is very interesting, because they are from different camps. And so these are portfolios that many people are looking out for, simply because these are portfolios that will really help to accelerate the economic development here in Thailand, and also make a huge difference in the lives of the people here. More importantly, before I end off here, is the fact that there are other parties that are involved in the makeup of this cabinet. There are about 36 ministers as well as deputy ministers who are comprising in terms of making up in this new civilian government, and all of these will have about 5 different political parties, and many of the Thai citizens are wondering how that is going to translate into them collaborating together, given the fact they have so different political ideologies.
Many questions outstanding, May, but on Tuesday, Mr Prayut signalled the end of military rule in Thailand. They've taken the military uniforms off, but his security forces, they still retain quite a lot of sweeping powers, don't they?
No surprises again here, because Mr Prayut himself has said previously that the 2 portfolios of defence as well as interior are utmost importance to him, because he feels that that will be able to continue to bring about peace and stability. And of course, not surprisingly, he wants to hang on to the power in terms of a kind of a grip on Thailand as well as the administration of this country, because he believes that the military will have more of a control over the country's progress. But you must also remember that even though he has given up some of the powers, including the very, very controversial Article 44, where they're allowed to detain people, on the other hand, he hasn't revoked 2 particular orders, one of which is that they're able to continue to take as well as to monitor online content. And yet another order which he did not revoke is that the soldiers will still in the future be able to go into homes as well as to arrest people if they're deemed to be of national security threat. So from that perspective, you can just imagine that it clearly goes to show that it may be a civilian government, but the military still has a rather strong grip on this country.
May, thank you very much for those thoughts on this story. We've been speaking there to May Wong in Bangkok.